Hi guys, it's Average and welcome back to the channel, and today we are not flying out of Laos, we're not flying for America, and this is not the 1960s. Okay, yeah it is, you got me. No, we're flying today out of Long Tieng, which is Lima Site 20 Alpha. We're doing a supply run to a couple of other Lima sites up here in the Laotian mountains, and a little bit of history along the way. Now, this has been the excuse I wanted to fly Milvis's gorgeous Porter with the analog instruments, so we're looking forward to that. Ditch the externals, we do not need those, we're not going to need the fuel. We are going to need the cargo space, however, because this is not going to be exactly a easy departure. Now, electronics are coming online, so we'll just quickly grab this and set our cargo. Don't need our co-pilot, she could stay at home. Let's get rid of their weight. Taking 1,200 pounds of cargo today. Anything more would be a bit much at this altitude and this amount of runway, so we're not doing that. Now I need to remember to set my rudder trim. And I remember how to read that. I know it's listed here somewhere. I just don't quite remember where. Oh, there it is. That's what we wanted. Okay. And we want to set this. And let's get ourselves going, shall we? Starter ignition's on. Fuel set off. Back here. To idle. Everything else is looking good to go. We'll get rid of this. And we'll get ourselves ready to crank. We're at the right number, so fuel on. We should have power soon. Engines going. We're using the GPS because I don't have accurate paper maps of the area. Pilots would have flown with accurate topographical maps and sometimes ones drawn on crayon. Learning from guys who actually do the routes. I don't, so I'm using the GPS solely for historical accuracy if you must. Engines looking good, so pop those off. Let's get our brakes away here. So 1 notch of flaps and we'll start to move. Alright, a little bit more but not too much power there. We have 1 notch of flaps set here. It should be enough for us, but we are going to need every inch of this runway. We have 4,500 feet of concrete here at Long Tieng, Lima Site 20A. As always, I'll include the airports in the description here. There we go. Okay. Let's prepare for a bit of a rocket drop, shall we? And we're away. Please take off. I would really appreciate it if we take off. A little bit of nose wiggle to try and fight here. Not too badly, but try to keep it straight. Speed's building. Off the ground, nose down. Let's get the flaps up and build speed. We've got so much terrain around here, we really need help to get off the ground at this one. And once we're good, we can climb away. God, this really vibes so hard. I've wanted an excuse to fly the Porter around Vietnam and Laos. And the airports in Vietnam aren't great, but this pack here for Laos is fantastic. I'll link it in the description as always. It really does hit the vibe the way you want it. But it always felt wrong to do it with the Air America livery on the glass cockpit in Porter, which just felt so strange. So here we are with the steam one. And this is Long Tieng from the air. Lima Sierra 20 Alpha. Down below is there on the left. Heck yeah. Okay. So we're roughly on course. So we're climbing over the mountains ahead of us. Now the Porter is great for higher altitudes. We took off at about 3,150 feet. So once we have this all properly set up, we should be good to go. I will get rid of some of the trim here that I have put in for the rudder. Bring us back to flying correctly here. Now, obviously this is Lima Site 20, but there's a very famous one with one of the Lima sites, Lima Site 85. And there was the battle there, also known as the Battle of Fu Pa Tai. I'm probably mispronouncing that one. But it was part of the military campaign during the Vietnam War and during also the Laotian Civil War, fought between the North Vietnamese Army and the Phat Lao, which was a rebel group in Laos. Between them and the US Air Force, its airmen, their first combat evaluation group, the Royal Lao Army, Royal Thai Border Guards, CIA-led Hong clandestine army and CIA operatives. Now, it was a very strategic outpost, the Phu Pha Thai mountain. Again, mispronouncing it horribly, but we'll go with it because I can't speak the language. Now, in '66, the US wanted to got approved a plan by the Air Force to put a TACAN station, navigation station, on top of Phu Pha Thai, and they needed some sort of navigation site to guide US bombers for raids into North Vietnam. Now, this was eventually upgraded to a air transportable all-weather ANTSQ-81 radar bombing control system. And here's our next airport. Already. This one's a dinky. So we're going to do a bit of a circular turn over here and come back in on ourselves. Obviously, it was upgraded to a weather bombing radar system to allow the US and Operation Commando Club to bomb into North Vietnam in the dead of night and bad weather, which was very important. That was the B-52s doing that one, of course. So towards the end of '67, POVN units increased their operations around the area, and there were several attacks launched on the site. The final assault on the 10th of March 1968, where elements of the PVAN, which is People's Army of Vietnam, North Vietnam as you know it, 41st Special Forces Battalion attacked the facility, along with Viet Cong and other elements of the Phat Lao. And the Thai and CIA forces were overwhelmed, and the hill was taken. So there you go. Right, coming around here. Flaps coming out. So there's our runway ahead of us. We'll be able to kind of drop over the ridge here and turn in. We've got 1,800 feet of grass basically for this one, which is perfect for the Porter. And we'll be dropping off about 400 pounds of cargo here. Smaller of the two bases. Okay. Keep an eye on our approach there. It's going to be a bit of a curve to the right here, just to deal with this hillside. Exactly what the Porter was built for. We're a bit fast and a bit high here, so let's give her a hand, shall we? There we go. Burn off some of this speed. We are quite quick here. This could be a problem. I'm going to slap this thing into reverse the second we touch down, which we're going to have to force. There we go. Come on, Piggy, stop. I love the Porter. It's ridiculous. Oops. Oopsie. Don't need to hear about warnings, okay? Shush, shush, shush. 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 Nothing's wrong, okay? No, there's no smoke or flames, we're fine. There's no smoke or flames, we're fine. I'll look in a second. We're not on fire yet, that I can tell. Right, okay, I'll look at your warning lights. God. looks fine. Not everything's lit up. Still running? It's fine. Anyway. Alright, guys. Out you get. No, I need the tablet for that, don't I? We're not stopping, so unload the plane. Where's my doors? Alright, here we go. Pull the flaps up so I can actually access the doors. That's important. And, so at 1200 we need 800 left. That's about as close as government work can get. We've unloaded their pallets there. And we've only got these left for Goose Landing. Yeah, they've all got American names. Funny that. Okay. We're good to go. Let's turn around here and get out. Before we do, let's reset our trim for takeoff. There we go. Okay. Let's go, girl, shall we? There we go. Flaps are up, so we want 1-notch flaps to departure here. And I need my head on a swivel for this. Okay, let's rock. It's a helpful thing that it's a drop-off here, which will greatly expedite our exit from the airfield. But there's a big tree there and a cliff. So, how's about we go now? There we go. The sea is not on fire. We've got plenty of power. Bit dramatic aeroplane. We're flying by 60s rules. If the engine's still turning, we're still burning. Or, if we're not burning, it's still turning. There we go. That'll do. We've got to get this stuff moved. I think it overheated, though. I definitely think we overheated a little bit. Just a little bit. But I was on the ground. It was fine. Okay. So we've got 10 minutes up the road here to Goose Landing, also known as La Ranger. This is Monroe. We just departed. We'll get ourselves rocking and rolling here, heading up to Goose Landing. Well, that's geese, right? We can juggle them. Hey, some people juggle geese. No, the scenery up here is stunning. And I was going to do this in a DC-3. I'd found a livery for Spooky, but it wasn't quite to my liking. And I thought, well, they wasn't doing transport. They did use some, but it was mostly very early, and very, very early, in fact. And I was like, no, I really want a C-123 provider, though. I would have lived out my Air America fantasies with that thing. Now, let's come around to our left slightly here. Follow the ridge line north, basically. So I think we're basically running along this line of ridges to about here, is my guesstimate. In fact, if I look at the track on the map, that is exactly where it's taking us to. So we'll settle out here. Get the trim evened out. And then once we get it just about ballpark, we'll add a little bit of juice. Or not. There we go, that's about where we want things. If I could find a nice even point in the trim, it would be great. Somewhere at least set us out close to 0, so I can just add a little bit of power and find the nice floaty point where we want to be at with the trim, where the aircraft just wants to hold its altitude. You roughly trim and then you can just adjust the power slightly to give yourself the perfect behaviour. And we're not far off, we're gaining slightly, so I'll just nudge it back a millimetre or two. I always find I get a bit more fine control over my pitch with the throttle. Obviously the faster you go, the faster the airflow goes, the bigger the differential pressure, the more lift you get, so you go up. The slower you go, the less differential pressure, the further you go down. Basic lift principles. Either way, we're not too far away from here now. So, obviously, there was a huge conflict in Laos as well as in Vietnam. Although in places like Laos and Cambodia, it was a shadow war. It was fought mostly between operatives of the CIA, working with local militias. Of course, there were lots of communist rebellions in the area at the time. Like I mentioned earlier, the The Phat Thalao was a communist rebel group in Laos. There were communist rebellions in Cambodia, as the entire region was stirred up, and America was really diving into a hornet's nest in Vietnam, trying to get involved. It was messy. But either way, this of course means that you've now got the CIA fiddling with those rebellions in the local government forces and propping up these government forces regardless of how they're actually acting. I'm not going to state whether the Vietnam War was wrong or right. It happened. I'm talking about the historical facts of that. But you ended up with these shadow wars happening in both Laos and Cambodia. A big part of that, of course, with Laos specifically, was, of course, the Ho Chi Minh Trail, where you had the NVA, which is North Vietnamese Army, or the PAVN, and you also had the VC, the Viet Cong, moving supplies in from Laos along these trails. Now, this is where the US Army used a lot of its spotter aircraft, and the US Air Force used spotter aircraft to find them. This is where gunships were employed a lot, where attacks along the route were conducted, and it was pretty gnarly work. In fact, it's also where the very first stealth helicopter was used, which was a modified OH-6. I say stealth. It had a silencer on its exhaust to try and reduce the noise it made, and it had extra propeller blades, I believe 6 over the standard 4 of the Loach at the time, to try and reduce the sound of the rotor. So it was quieter. I wouldn't say stealth, but it was quieter, as you would see. Okay, not too far away from Lima Sierra 26, Goose Landing, and the culmination of our little adventure here. I do love finding the opportunity to fly in very different places every time I take you guys with me, and having the Porter is exactly that excuse. I'm also loving the fact I've got 85 FPS here and I can just go whee! I can look anywhere I like. I'm sorry I'm moving the camera so fast, but it's so smooth. God, I used to move my head so slowly to try and prevent any stutter, but I just don't get any. And we're climbing now. Let's knock that down again. Trim is neutralized out on the tail. Let's try and drop some altitude here. I think that's maybe us on the left over there. We'll pull the power here. That might be us. I know we're looking for about 3,700 feet of grass. I don't think it's concrete, but we'll find out. Of course, these stations and installations along the top of the ridges are important to not only protecting the major radar sites, but also providing radar coverage themselves. Because without these high points and providing navigation, the bombing raids in North Vietnam couldn't happen. Alright, 5 miles away, so it's going to be pretty close. I think it's just clearing up ahead on our left. And I believe the only way into this is to the southeast. Which will put it behind us. So I'm figuring this is a downwind and turnaround job. Neutralize the power a little bit here. Let's lose some altitude. This might not be what we're looking for, but it looks like it could be. I don't think it is. I think it'll be the one after it, maybe. We want to find out regardless. Where are you? I don't see any geese. That's the important part. Do we see any geese around? I don't see any geese. Any geese? No, no geese. Okay, where are you, Goose Landing? It's hard to pick out anything in the jungle down below. We're gonna have to overfly. Let's see if we can work out what we're doing here. We should be in something up ahead. Maybe it's this one up ahead of us. See a river there. I do not see a strip yet. Now, southeast I believe it is, or it could be northeast. I'm not sure which it was. I need to refer back to my notes. Where's my notes? North. Okay, so it's a north-south runway. So we're looking for something that's going to be, I was incorrect, to diagonal almost. Could this be us over here? No, there it is. There it is. I got it. Okay. Let's take a look at what we've got options-wise. I think south of the river's looking pretty good there. We'll come over top and we'll take a look and then we'll turn and make our approach. Yep, sandy dirt runway. Should be pretty reasonable. Okay, we'll bring it around here. We'll get ourselves set up for a landing and we'll bring this thing in with our final 800 pounds of supplies. And our little run is done. You know, it's great that I've still not water cooled my 5900X because it's heating up my office, so I feel like I'm in Laos in the middle of summer. Free heating. It's going to be miserable in the summer. I absolutely must water cool this beast by summer. Okay, we'll come across this ridge ahead of us, turn around, and we'll have the river to guide us in. Okay. The nose down here. We'll start the turn in a minute once we cross here. I love mountain flying. This allows me to bush fly, but with a different reason, a different story. And mountain flying does take a little bit of nuance sometimes. Especially when approaches aren't exactly standard textbook cases, so I'm going to power back here. Give a little rudder to help the turn. Try and lose some speed and altitude. The river's just ahead of us over there. There's the strip. We're basically turning base here. And we'll hit the river valley and we'll turn final. Red sandy soil is very visible. Second notch of flaps. There we go. Plenty of runway here, we don't need to be too worried, but do want to make sure we hit it at a reasonable speed and altitude. Don't want to annoy the engine again, we might not make it back to our home base. A little bit of wind there. $2,800 feet is our lowest strip of the day. Let's kill some of this energy. I get the feeling we're going to land a little bit long here, but we'll try and manage that. Now, you'll often hear me stall when I come into land in the port, or you hear the stall horn. It's because I always try and flare close to the stall edge rather than having to apply power. I'll let it do it itself. So as we're trotting along here, now this might need me to force it down a little bit. Yeah, we're a little bit fast here. There we go. Push it back out of beta into idle. I'm going to spin around here. And slinger up to the parking area. Oh, that's a treat. No, never look at the door when trying to taxi an aircraft. Actually look at the aircraft. Oh, yeah. Breakdance, breakdance. Not just for people in the ghetto with the Ghetto Blaster. Okay, beta, 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 beta. The breakdance is what we pilots do when we're a bit fast, we don't want to tip over. There we go. Let's cut that engine. Woo! Do you want to open now? He doesn't want to open. He's shy. Yeah, the Milver's aircraft respond to the actual input of... there we go, see? As the actual wash slows down, the door is willing to open more because the airflow over it isn't pushing it too hard. Ah. Well, here we are in beautiful Goose Landing. I don't see any geese. I am marginally disappointed by that. But we made it with no major problems. Only modicum of dancing on the pedals. That doesn't look very period accurate, does it? Oh well. I'll take it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. And hopefully you guys had fun. Come out here and check it out yourself. Grab the Porter, even if you're using your Sober one. And come and not be here. Thanks for watching. Bye.